Everyone, and welcome to ITLS Academy Empower the Youth. So today in this lecture we will going to cover our next part of safety, health and environment, that is our part 2. So in the previous lecture we have discussed about the introduction part of SHE, what are the preventive measures should be taken, how the hazardous chemicals should be handled, and why this SHE become a vital part of any of the industries. And we have seen some of the regulatory bodies that have deals with this safety, health and environment in any of the pharmaceutical industry. So in this particular lecture we will going to have a understanding of the general principle of health, safety and environment. Okay, so general principles, how on which principle basically this has a health, safety and environment based on. So the first principle says that use all times appropriate protective equipment or clothing such as eye protection, hair net, glove, safety shoe, open shoe or sandal must not be worn. Wear a clean working coverall or apron when working in the company. So the first principle, or the principle on which HSE is based on, is says that as you can see this image as well, that a person is there in any of the industries, pharmaceutical industries. So can you just see the dress of this worker? He is wearing a perfect hair scarf. He is wearing the you can say the mask. Okay, the nose is also covered. Then he is wearing the gloves, he is wearing the shoe cover and a proper apron, and this apron is particularly clean. Okay, so it is recommended to wear a dress like that while entering any of the industries. So what is not permitted in the industries? So the open shoe is not allowed, sandals are not allowed, loose fitting clothes are not allowed. Why? Because why sandals are not allowed? See, if you're wearing an open sandal or a open shoes, if by chance any hazardous chemical fall on your fall on yourself, so they can directly harm your foot. So it is very much important to cover the foot with the this type of shoe, and with the safety shoe cover. Okay, similar cases with the loose fitting clothes. Why? Because there are chances that while working in the production line, different machinery have different aeration system, so the clothes can get attached to that aeration system, and of course they can harm you. So it is very important to wear a simple protective type of a clothing, different protective apron. Okay, there are different types of the aprons that are there in the market. One of the apron that is mostly used is the acid protective apron that we have learned in our previous lecture. Okay, so why acid protective aprons? So to avoid the impact on hazardous acid when falls on a person. Okay, then the second point says that wear a suitable lab coats and gloves when handling a corrosive, toxic or flammable material. So it is very much recommended that whenever you are dealing with any corrosive or a hazardous, toxic or flammable material, you should always wear a acid proof lab coats. Okay, gloves should be there so that there should be no direct contact between the hands and the different that hazardous chemicals. So do not wear the contaminated gloves or clothing outside the company. So it is very much important that whenever you are just leaving the premises, so it is very much recommended that you should I should leave your company clothes. Company clothes means this lab coat in the company, and you should not wear that clothing outside. Remove such items before leaving the companies. Why? Because the clothes have a direct contact with that particular hazardous. So while leaving your company, there are chances that those clothes can harm a different type of a person. Okay, so it is very much recommended that whatever you have wear while working with a hazardous chemical, you should leave that clothes in the company or in the industry premises itself. Use a company equipment for the purpose for which it is designed. So what are the equipment that is designed to solve or make a particular product? So you should only use those equipment. Confine long hair and loose fitting clothes, that I have just talked about, that it is not recommended to have a open hair while working in the industry. It is not recommended to wear a loose fitting clothes. So reason I have just told you in the point one. You should always wash hands on completion of the industrial activity, especially after using any ingredient. So it is very much important to sanitize your hand before using and after using any type of hazardous as or ingredient or chemical. It is very much important, okay, to wash the hands properly. Ensure that the supervisor are informed of any unsafe conditions or unsafe practices permitted by the colleague. So if there is any unsafe activity or condition that is there, so make sure that you should always call the supervisor to see the activity. Okay, also point out any perceived mal practice to the colleague involved. So there should be a certain safety rules according to which principles you can say you can work in any industry. So if as you can see this image, I'm just zooming this image. So this is a product range that is there in any of the industries. As you can see the first image, okay, a person is wearing a proper type of a dress. Okay, his hair head is also covered, his nose is also covered. Okay, so as you can see, this is a lint free coverall. This type of dress is not known called as the apron. So basically it is a lint free coverall. Okay, again the hair nose is covered, head is covered. Okay, this is the way how the shoe is covered, this is the way how shoe is covered. Okay, gloves are missing, so you can move to the next image where you can find out how the gloves is worn by the workers. So housekeeping, again this is very much important slide. Housekeeping means the area, the premises. So work area must be kept clean. So whenever you are working in the industries or whenever you visit any industry, you see that the industries are very clean. ओके, वेयर बेसिकली जहाँ पर प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है दैट एरिया इज़ वेरी क्लीन. ओके, वाई क्लीन? सो दैट देर शुड बी नो foreign particle that could accumulate in the production. So it is very much important to maintain a proper CIPs, that is clean in place. A proper sanitation should be there in the industry. Okay, work area should be clean, tidied on the completion of the company or industrial operation. So once the operation is done, once the production is completed, the area should be clean, equipment should be washed properly, machinery should be clean, everything should be clean. Okay, there should be no residues that is left behind. Yeah, the worker, they are instructed to clean all the residues that are kept behind. Okay, the stairways and the halls must not be used for storage of equipment, samples or personal property. So there is a place in in any of the, means majority of the industries where I have visited, and mostly the industries have the place where you can place your personal belongings. Okay, personal properties should be placed there. Okay, so the personal items or the property should not be taken up with you whenever you are working in the production area. ओके, सो stairways हो गया, halls हो गया, they are not used for storing any of the equipments or samples or the personal property. So every, like for the storage of the equipment, area is separate. For the storage of raw material, area is separate. So whenever you visit any of the industry, you see that every for everything, whether it's a raw material, whether it's a equipment, whether it's a personal property, whether it's a sample, every thing have a separate room or separate space is given to store different types of things. Okay, access to the emergency equipment or exist must never be blocked. Okay, access to the emergency equipment and exit can never be blocked, so there is should be proper access as well as exit. Equipment, ingredients, chemical must be stored in the correct manner. As I have told you in the previous lecture also, that is the part 1, that if there is any hazardous chemical is there, the chemical should be labeled properly. Yes, this chemical is hazardous, so you should use this chemical very properly. Okay, so that should be there, means proper labeling, proper placement of the equipment, ingredient should be mentioned, equipment should be placed very properly, chemical should be stored very properly. Spilt मतलब जो थोड़ा सा लीकेज टाइप का मटेरियल हो, must be cleaned up quickly using the proper method. So what should be the proper method to clean the spilled material? That could be taken very properly. Then waste, particularly hazardous waste, must be placed in the appropriate labeled container. So see, in any of the industries, whether it's a food industries, whether it's a pharma industry, waste is there. Hazard is sometimes waste are of different types. Maybe there are non-hazardous waste, there are bio waste, there are non-hazardous waste. So all these waste material should be placed appropriately, labeled the container. Yes, this waste is hazardous, this waste is non-hazardous, this waste is physical, means any type of a physical thing is there, this stage waste is a biochemical waste. Okay, so every container must have a label, and according to the type, the hazard is placed in that particular container. Okay, then obsolete material or sample must not be allowed to accumulate and must be disposed of. If there is a sample, so they must be stored or must be disposed of. This is how the cleaning that I have said, that housekeeping, this is the way the work place should be kept, means how you can see that how clean the workplace is there. Proper cleaning should be maintained so that to avoid any source of microbial contamination. As we all are aware that microorganisms grow very well in the area that is contaminated, so it is very important to clean the workplace time to time, so that there is less chance or a very less chance of a microorganism to come in. Then as you can see in the next diagram, this figure, this is a place that I have told you, this is a place where a worker comes, they change and came in the industrial clothes. So it is the space where a worker changes their clothes, where the worker dress up properly for the production of the product. Okay, so what injuries and illness must be reported? Okay, now this again is very important. So while working in the industries, there are major chances that there could be any injuries or illness. So for a very little injuries or illness, things could be solved at बाय उसी प्लेस पे सॉल्व हो सकती है. बट अगर इंजरीज बड़ी हैं, इलनेस बड़ी है, तो कैसे उसको रिपोर्ट करना, मीन्स कब इंजरीज एंड इलनेस मस्ट बी रिपोर्टेड. Work related injuries that cause or likely to cause your workers to be off beyond the day of the injury. So in that particular case, injury should be reported. Okay, then comes the injuries that require modified work beyond the day of the injury. then also injury should be reported. Then injuries that requiring ongoing medical treatment, that is any physical type therapy, prescription medication, then also injuries and illness must be reported. Injuries that may result in a permanent disability, means sometimes permanent hearing loss, etc. So in that particular case also injuries should be reported. Okay, now comes when to report an inquiry. So after you does the report of the injuries and illness, now comes then when to report an inquiry, means when how to when inquiries is set up. So under the legislation, you must report work related injuries, that is within 3 days, that is 72 hours of being notified of the injuries. If you fail to report an injury within this period, you may be fined. So it is very much important if there is any mishappening or in the industry. So it is very much important, means there is a law under the legislation that you must report the injuries within 72 hours. Okay, 72 hours is the time limit by which you can report for the injuries. But if the time period means go out of this 72 hours, so the fine is been in reported. So it is better to have in a report within the 72 hours. Okay, now what are the safety types of clothes that is there that is worn by the employees? The first one is the gloves. So gloves is one of the most important materials that are used by the workers for the safety purpose. Okay, so whenever, see students, you are studying, so whenever you are working in the laboratories also, so gloves are worn by yourself. So gloves play a very important role whenever there is a safety. Why? Because it covers your hand, so there should be a no direct contact between your hand and the chemical. So glove material having the correct resistance to chemical or other forms of hazard to the hand should be selected. So in the market there are different types of gloves that are present. So but the correct material of a gloves should be selected, means a gloves that have a correct resistance to chemical, a gloves that have a correct resistance to other forms of hazard should be selected. Okay, the integrity of the gloves should be checked before the commencement of the working. Use the correct procedure to remove the gloves after working and to dispose them off if okay. So see students, so whenever you are using you are wearing the gloves, so there is a proper way how to remove the gloves from your hand. Okay, after the usage you just take out the gloves and you just throw it off. Okay, there should be no re-wearing of the gloves, means आप gloves repeat नहीं कर सकते whenever you are dealing with any hazardous chemical. So it is very important and to dispose of the gloves and do not try to reuse them. Okay, this is the way of the correct removal of the gloves, as you can see in this particular image. This gloves should be of single use, means one time एक बार ही gloves use किया. So remove the gloves carefully to protect the skin from the contamination. See, your gloves have a direct contact with the hazardous chemicals, so it is very important to take out the gloves in a proper way, so that the hazard that is attached to the gloves could not come in contact with your hand. So how you just pull it like this in the image second. Then after that, as you can see that this is the way to remove, as you can see. Okay, this is the way. Firstly, in a very gentle way. Okay, very slowly, there should be no hurry. Okay, so in this way you just take out the gloves and you just dispose the gloves in a suitable container. So it is very much important for you how to remove the gloves. The reason I have told you, and there should be of course the single usage of the gloves. Okay, now comes the respiratory protection. So this is again very much important. So why it is very much important? Why? Because in industries there are different types of hazardous chemicals that is there. Okay, so how to protect your respiratory system, how to protect the respiratory system of the employer? So it is very much important that proper use of fume hoods should be generally eliminated the respiratory hazard. So proper use of the fumes hoods. So fume hoods should be used, and the respiratory hazards they generally eliminate from the fume hoods. So in special circumstances, the health safety and health safety and environment officers may recommended the use of respirators, and they are responsible for the selection and instructing the behavior of for its fit and safe use. So as you can see in the image, this type of respiratory protection is used by the workers that are working in the chemical environments, or that is there in the production room. So these are certain types of things that are used by the employees. Some I have not mentioned, like the proper shoe cover, proper types of apron, proper, even the goggles are also used just to avoid any fumes that comes while dealing with the chemicals. So proper types of goggles are there, proper types of gloves are there, proper types of respiratory protections are there, proper types of headscarf is there, apron are there. So by using this you can avoid, or you can delay the hazardous, not delay exactly the word, right word, you can avoid the hazards to come in contact with the proper body. Okay, so in this particular lecture, what type of questions that can be asked? So they can ask you about the general principle. Okay, so this is the general principle. You can write it down in your own words also. So they can ask you about this. Then the second thing they can ask you about what is MSDS. So which is very much important, you must be aware of MSDS. Then how the work place should be clean, how the waste should be disposed of. So this again can be asked in the interviews. What injuries and illness must be reported, means which type of injuries and illness to be reported. Again, this is one of the questions that can be asked. Okay, they can ask you, even in the MCQs they can ask you about the time limit of the report. Then again they can ask you about the gloves, means how to remove the gloves, which type of gloves should be used in the industries. And what do you understand by respiratory protection, means how you take protection of the respiratories. So these are certain questions that can be asked in the interview, so you must be aware of these questions. Okay, so one full form they can also ask you, that this is the full form they can ask you in the examination, that what is OSHA. Okay, this type of question can be asked, means what are the OSHA safety measures. So OSHA standards and enforcement, they include inspecting the workplace. Why workplace? For the potential hazards, eliminating or minimizing the hazard, keeping the record of the workplace injuries and illness. They do the training of the employees to recognize the safety and health hazards, and educating the employees on precautions to prevent accidents. So this question can be asked, that what do you understand by OSHA. So you must be aware of this. So what is the full form of OSHA? I'm just writing it here, you can note it down. So OSHA, okay, full form, I'm just writing it here. That is the occupational safety and health administration. Okay, administration. So what is the full form? That is occupational safety and health administration. So this is the full form, and the basic objective or principle on which OSHA work is they basically inspect the workplace. Why? For the potential hazard, for eliminating and minimizing the hazard, for keeping the records. Okay, so this is again, and of course for giving the training for the employees how to deal with the hazards, or the how which type of preventive actions they can and take. Okay, or and the second question can be asked in the interviews or in the examination, means what are the 7 safety rules. Okay, you must be aware of the rules. What are the 7 safety rules that can be means what are the 7? So you should always keep the workplace clean, you should wear a proper type of clothes, always wear a proper type of gloves, never work on live equipments, make sure that the hazardous chemical should be labeled properly, communicate hazards and to other personnel. Okay, stop work when needed to when there is a address of any hazard. So it is very important that all these 7 types of safety rules that every worker should take. Okay, so that brings to the end of the lecture. I hope you have understood the lecture. If you have any doubt, any queries related to the lecture, you can simply leave your queries in the comment section below. You can follow ITLS Academy on different portal. This is our website, that is www.itlsacademy.com. This is our helpline number, that is 7080833450. So you can simply call on this number and get updated. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe, and yes, at last, don't forget to press the bell icon to get more update on the latest lecture that I will be going to upload in this course, that is in pharmaceutical industrial management. So stay tuned with us, and yes, please press the bell icon. Thank you, and subscribe ITLS Academy. Thank you so much.